Assalamu alaikum, friends. This is 𝗚𝗲𝗍 in Chicago, and you are watching my channel, Knowledge for Quality of Life. Friends, we have been talking in few vlogs regarding non-communicable diseases and how it's related to vitamin D blood serum level. And you've been hearing from me that vitamin D works at various cellular levels through various pathways through vitamin D receptors. Now, we are composed of various types of genes, and genes carry our DNA. Today, we are going to look into it, that how vitamin D involves in genetic expression. When I say genetic expression, it means that there are certain genes which are upregulated, or there are certain genes which are downregulated in our system through vitamin D supplementation or vitamin D level in our blood. Now, that's how the nature has wired us. And we have heard from so many people various times that so-and-so disease runs in genetically. So my mom had diabetes, so I'm going to end up in diabetes no matter what I do. Now, my question always been that after reading this literature, after going through this current knowledge, what scientists have looked upon, and I'm going to share with you some papers and some graphical representation, that if my mom had certain disease, was she adequate in vitamin D level? That's the first question. Or my dad had some disease, was he adequate in vitamin D level? What nature is wired to have it, to perform certain functions in our body, or the way genes needs to be expressed. So if genetic expressions were not done in our forefathers, and of course we are more prone to have those genetics expressions if we are not adequate in vitamin D. Now, scientists have looked at it in a double-blinded controlled study. They have included 30 participants. I have included that study brief description in the description as well, so you can read it on your own. They have taken 30 participants. They have given 3 various levels of vitamin D supplementation: 600, IU, 4,000, and 10,000. Now, these are not magical numbers. There is a reason behind why they pick these numbers. I'll come to those numbers in a bit. What they have observed, that they measured the base level first for all the 30 participants, and it was 17 nanograms per milliliter. And they have looked at it, that how these 30 participants responded to various D supplementation, means 600 IU, 4,000 IU, and 10,000 IU. What they have observed, that the calcium metabolism peaked at or plateaued at 30 nanograms per milliliter, and beyond that, it wouldn't make any impact on calcium metabolism through parathyroid hormone. So, but they looked at it many other things at the white cells level. They looked at it particularly how the genes were expressed in these 30 participants responding to various D supplementation, like 600, 4,000, and 10,000 IU. So let me share the screen with you to see what the results they found. So if you look at it on the horizontal axis, influence, this is the influence of vitamin D supplementation on gene expression. So, and the number of genes expressed or number of genes affected. So when we say genes expression, means, there are certain genes, as I said, that needs to be turned on, and there are certain genes remains to be turned off. And these are various genes, almost 2,776 genes or more. At least they have found so far those many. If you look at 600 IU per day here, and the blue bar is upregulated, means turned on. The orange is downregulated, turned off, and the green is total combined of this. So it means that when the folks who were given 600 IU, the total gene expression combined was 162, they have observed. But during the 4,000 IU per day supplementation, they have observed 320 genes total expressed, for those people. But when they have given 10,000 IU, they have seen almost 1,289 total combined genes expressed. It means that if I were to take the folds percentage times, so between 4,000 to 600, it was 4 folds, and between 10,000 to 600 IU, it was 8-fold increase. Now, it means that it doesn't mean that you have to take 10,000 IU per day. The number they have picked, and I will come to this in a bit, there's a reason for it. We've been saying all this time in my previous vlogs that the magical number is 40 to 60 nanograms per milliliter. Now, 40 to 60 nanograms, 60 is assumed that, closer to this 10,000 IU, because, they could have taken the vitamin D level, but it's very difficult for vitamin D level to calibrate because, each and every individual responds to vitamin D level differently because, we absorb differently based on our weight, based on our BMI. So various factors plays a role. So that's why to avoid that, they have given flat out the, supplement rather than, going or calibrating based on the D level. So let me stop share and share you another screen to explain that how these magical numbers were picked. So let me take you to the vitamin D calculator actually. And this is, you can do for your own calculation. So this is from the grassrootshealth.net. They have a detailed project calculator here, and you can calculate your vitamin D. Now, depending on which unit you want to work on. So I'm working on the US unit, but if you are in international unit, you can pick kilogram and nanomoles as well. So you just click here and you pick the right unit. So let's say average weight of a person is 150. Okay, that's being like, a skinny person, average height, average weight, 150. And current supplement person is taking is none. So I would put 0. But if somebody is taking a supplement of, let's say, 500 or 600 or 1,000 IU or 2,000 IU, you can put that number in an IU form. And what is your current serum level? So now this study, which I just explained you, of 30 participants, the average level was 17 nanograms per milliliter. So I would plug 17 here. And the desired level was targeted for, let's say, first they looked at it 40. So what would it take to reach at 40? So you see that 600, of course, 600 is not going to get you 40 because it's a minuscule number. And 600 is normally the reason they picked 600 because majority of the multivitamins carries 600 IU. And, mostly doctors say that, 600 is going to be okay for you, but 600 is just like spitting in the ocean. So it doesn't do any good. So if you look at here, the explanation that, 4,000 IU would be required for 50% of the people. It means that 50% will make it at 40 nanograms and 50% will not reach, 40 nanograms per milliliter because of the variability in their BMI and, absorption rate and so on and so forth. And if you look at here, that 90%, if you give 5,000, 90% will reach 40 nanograms per milliliter. But if I change this 40 to 60 now, And let's say if I press calculate, what do I get? So 8,000 will reach 60 nanograms, right? 50% of, if they take 50% of the population will take 8,000 IU, then they will reach 60 nanograms per milliliter, and 50% will not reach 60 nanograms per milliliter because of the variability of various parameters. But if they take 10,000 IU, 90% will reach 60 nanograms. Now, that's why I said in my previous vlog that you don't take the bolus dose. You start with 2,000 and then calibrate yourself. Play with this calculator a little bit. That what would it take for your customized dose to have that level between 40 and 60. I personally prefer myself and my family member around 60 and above, 60 to 70. So you can calibrate. Like I make it, around 70 at only 5,000 IU. So I don't need to. Of course, I'm a skinny person. My BMI is just 20. So somebody who is a little bit heavyweight, they would need more because it's a fat soluble and it gets locked into the fat globules and it's not available to dissolve. So it all depends on your individual variability. So just calibrate yourself and work with your doctor. But the point I was trying to make here is that how the genetic expression is tied to our vitamin D level. Now, remember that all these diseases which we have been talking about so far in the previous 9 or 10 vlogs, from heart disease to cancer to autoimmune issues to diabetes, through respiratory illnesses, all these are expressed in terms of vitamin D level deficiency. And vitamin D has multiple pathways and multiple cellular functions through which it controls the genetic expression. So basically, our innate immunity, complete natural immunity, is tied strongly to this defense mechanism through D. And that's how the nature has wired us to produce our own vitamin D, provided we go in the sunlight. If we have that kind of exposure to sunlight 365 days a year, then we don't need probably the supplementation, provided we don't have any malabsorption issue. The only reason you can find out is to test. Testing is very important. I couldn't put more emphasis on test of vitamin D level than anything else. Because I personally do twice a year, because once I come out of the summer, because of the sunlight absorption during the summer, I do it one in September, around September 30th, and one by the end of March. Because when I'm coming out of the winter, being in Chicago, I don't get enough. And I'm mostly indoors. So I have to adjust my dose accordingly so that I remain in that sweet spot range, so that, optimum range, so I can express my genes, appropriately the way nature has designed us. So, and I understand that, a lot of myths and a lot of misinformation is there about toxicity, that, if I'm going to take 5,000, it's going to be toxic. And I'm going to be covering, hopefully next vlog, a separate concept here that, what is toxicity? What the researchers have found, and we can discuss a little bit more on that subject, so that, the better you are understanding this subject matter, you can have a better dialogue with your doctor and take care of your health. See you next time.